I'm Brian Martin. I'm in my 90th year. I've written this poem for the 100th celebration of Anzac Day. Loosely based on a true story told to me 80 years ago by a frail little old lady rocking to and fro in a rocking chair. I have simply entitled the poem War, and this is the story she told. Maud lived on a little farm. Dick lived by the sea. They met at the Brentwood Sunday School when they were only 3. They went to the same one teacher's school, their only source of knowledge. Maud left to help her brother. Dick went to town to college. They met again years later at a country dance. They both showed interest. It turned into romance. They became engaged to one another, but there was much more in store. Their wedding day, it was postponed when Dick went off to war. In a flood of tears he was farewelled by his bride-to-be to Egypt via Albany and the shores of the Red Sea. With no mental preparation and little training, you might say, they handed each a rifle and led them to the fray. They stormed that beach at Anzac Cove through gunfire and bloodstone water. The Turks knew they were coming. It was like lambs to the slaughter. The only thing that saved Dick's life was a deep wound to the head, but he awoke next day to find all his close mates were dead. Dick needed the love of friends for him to feel much better, but the only ones were those back home, 2 months away by letter. They limped in naval convoy through the Gibraltar Strait, and Dick arrived in Plymouth without a single mate. They hoped for repatriation, but they weren't in the hunt. Their special skills were needed on the Western Front. So it was across the channel to the Somme to save a bridge, then north to help the Frenchmen in their fight for Vimy Ridge, then back to Villers-Bretonneux, where those sacrifices were all made, in those stinging bloody trenches, fought with gun and hand grenade. They fought for king and empire in that far distant war, but many didn't really know what they were fighting for. But most believed the propaganda and viewed the Huns with hate. But Dick knew on his farm back home he had a German migrant mate. Dick also held the view and knew that it was true, that the lads in the opposing trench all had loved ones too. But he was realistic, knew what he had to do. In trench warfare, you just killed the foe before the foe killed you. Then the welcome news came through of the Allies' great advance, and Maud received a letter from a hospital bed in France. Soon the armistice was signed. The Hun were on the run. This meant the war was over, but the battle had just begun. Dick was really in a mess, his body bruised and battered, but what was 10 times worse for him, his brilliant mind was shattered. He was back across the channel, back in dear old Blighty, but he'd seen another 40,000 Aussie mates go to the Almighty. He didn't want his future wife to see him in this mess, so he spent a year upon a farm to try and ease the stress. Then troop ships became available, so he did what he had to do, face up to all his friends back home, who were now strangers too. Maud and Dick at last got married. It's what they always knew they'd do. But each was married to a spouse they hardly knew. Things were very hectic in that war-torn marriage, and to make things even worse, Maud had a miscarriage. But then things started to look up. They thought they had some wins. Maud was pregnant again. This time it was with twins. But again things started to go wrong. All they could do was pray. The boy baby was stillborn. Young Bowder lived a day. They were devastated. All Dick saw was wartime visions, and with nightmares every night, he made some bad decisions. Seas of blood and screams of death were all mixed up together. By night he fought his demons, and by day he fought the weather. Eventually the bank foreclosed. It was such a pity. They just walked off their precious farm, forced back to the city. With his college education and brilliant business sense, Dick got a managerial job without all these suspense. With time, the nightmares faded and the dark clouds rolled away, and things returned to how they were on their engagement day. Maud soon sensed the difference, knew good times were here to stay. She easily felt pregnant, knew she'd go all the way. Then my granny stopped her rocking, slowly turned her head, looked at me straight in the eye, and this is what she said. After 15 years of war-torn love and 6 long years of trying, your loving parents' dream came true, and they named their little baby Brian, lest we forget.